All right, so we just learned how to make an object iterable with the symbol iterator method. Now we're going to learn what generators are. First of all, let's look at this object. If we type in obj, we know that it is now iterable, or we can loop through it because it has the symbol .iterator here. Same thing. If you type in an empty array, you know that the array is loopable because look, its prototype has symbol .iterator, just like our object. Cool, right? Okay, but what is a generator? Well, a generator is just syntactic sugar for how we define our symbol iterator to match with the iteration protocol. Okay? So remember, the protocol says you need a method whose name is symbol.iterator. Okay? And then inside of that symbol iterator function, you need to return an object. That object needs a next method, and that next method needs a value and a done property. But generators take all of that away, and all we have to do is the keyword yield. And yield underneath the hood does the exact same thing that we just did right here. So let's define our very first generator. How do we do that? Well, it comes with an asterisk like this. So function, I will call this test func. Okay. And then for now, I'm just going to do yield 1, yield, whoops, I don't know what happened right there, yield 2, and then I will do return 100, and then yield 3. All right. So now with generators, you need to put the function in a variable. So I will do const my gen for generator is equal to the test func and calling it. All right. So now on the right, if I do my gen dot next, you see that we get the exact object that we get here before, right? But here, we didn't put any next method and we didn't define this object. The yield keyword and the star did everything for us. Cool, huh? So now if I do mygen.next again, let me just copy this. We get value 2, then we get 100, but then it says done. Why is that? Well, whenever you use the return keyword inside a generator function, it means your loop is done. Okay, so even if I do it again, I'm not going to get the yield 3 here because it was after my return statement. Cool, huh? Okay, let's move on. Now, the special thing about generator functions is that they can actually pause, and the yield takes care of that, right? So they can pause before running something again. So if I do console.log first here, before the yield, and then under yield 2, I'm going to do console.log second. Okay. And then here, if I do, if I do mygen.next, let's see what we get. We get the first, right? But you see, it actually paused. It didn't console.log second. Mygen.next, then it does the 2, right? Then it does the second. Okay. So yield actually pauses and return stops the loop. Now, one more thing, that means we can actually do an infinite loop. So that's why I put num here, and I'll call this with 5. And then I can do a while true. Remember, normally a while true will lead to an infinite loop and your browser crashes, okay? But not inside the generator function. So if I do yield plus plus, let's see what we get. Oops, let's see. At index 35, while true. Oh yeah, yield number plus plus. Okay. Mygen.next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we can keep on going forever, right? So this is why when you do a regular for loop with while true, it goes on forever because it keeps on calling the .next method infinitely. Okay? And the engine does that. But if you define your own generator function and you don't call next infinitely, it will not freeze. How cool is that? Okay, all of this sounds cool and all, but how do we actually use the generator function to create something that's actually useful besides the stupid while true thing, not freezing? Okay, let's see. We're going to create a card deck. with 52 cards, right? 2 of hearts, 3 of hearts, 4 of hearts, 10 of spades, things like that. Let's see how we can do this object. So first, I'm gonna do const my card deck is equal to an object like this. Now, what do we need to generate our 52 cards? Well, we need the suites, right? So I can do suits, which is an array, and that's gonna be, let's say, I would do space of hearts, of diamonds, of clubs, things like that. I'll just copy and paste. Please bear with me. I should have typed this before. Of spades, of clubs, and then of diamonds. Okay. And then what else do we need? Well, we need high cards, right? Because we have 2 through 10 and then jack through ace. High cards would be jack, queen, king, and ace. Okay. Now, do we actually need the numbers like 2 through 10, like 2 of jack, 2 of spades, 3 of spades? Well, we actually don't. And I'll show you how we can take advantage of loops to take care of that for us. Now, we need to create a generator function in order to obey the iteration protocol. The iteration protocol requires us to have a symbol.iterator first. So I'm going to copy this here and paste it here. Now, the iteration protocol says it must be a method, but it can be a normal method or a generator, right? So we can do that. Okay. Now, inside of here, how are we going to get our 52 cards? Well, I'm just going to start with a for loop for const. So I'm going to loop through the suits first. Oh, there should be no comma here. Const, let's say suit name of this dot suites. Now, why do we need the keyword this? Well, this is an object, right? So when we call it, the word this will refer to the object. You can also do my card deck dot suits, and that works too. Okay, so inside of this for of loop, what do we need to do? Well, we actually need nested loops, and I'll explain why later. Now, inside of here, we're going to do a regular for loop, and I'll tell you why. And we're also going to fix our for loop. Okay. Now, we're going to actually go from 2, since card number start at 2, to 10, right? Because anything above 10 is jack. And then I++. Okay, but what do we need to do here? Well, I'm just going to do yield. But what am I yielding? Well, we want it to be like 2 of hearts, 3 of hearts, right? So we're going to take I plus the suite name from the outside loop. Okay, remember when you have nested loops, the inside loops will run all the way first and then the outside loop runs. So ours will say I, which is 2, 2 of hearts. And then this loop will still run 3 of hearts, 4 of hearts, all the way to 10. Then this outside loop runs once. It will be of spades. Okay. All right. So we're not done yet, but we already made this iterable. Watch. So if I console.log, right, and I use the spread operator, which is the same as the for of loop, my card deck, let's see what we get. See? We get all of this. Now, how can we do the high cards? How do I do king of hearts? Okay. Well, we can do another for loop. Now, this for loop will be inside the first for loop, but after this loop. Okay. So I will do a for of loop for const. Now, I'm going to loop through the high cards. I'll just call this high card of high cards. Okay. What do we want to yield? Well, what do we want our result to say? We want it to say jack of hearts, right? So we need to yield high card plus suite name. And suite name works because we're still inside of the first for of loop. So that's why it works. Okay. Okay. Oh, and I forgot, it's supposed to be this dot high cards. All right. Look at this. Cool, right? Now, we can even convert this into an array. So I will do const arr is equal to array.from. Can we just do my card deck like this? Does it work? Let me delete this. Okay, I'm going to type in arr. And look, we get an actual array of stuff, right? And even its prototype says array because we converted array.from my card deck. Now, if you don't have the symbol iterator, you cannot convert it like this because array.from actually also looks for your symbol.iterator for it to actually convert to an array. This is why normally you cannot just straight up convert an object to an array because it's missing the symbol.iterator. Okay, I hope this was helpful. It's only part 1, but you can already see how useful our generator functions can be, right? Okay, let's move on.